So guys, I figured I'm just gonna keep okay, so I'm in this weird state with Nerve where I think I kind of pissed him off, or he won't admit it, like he probably wouldn't admit it, but he something I did irked him, what's new, right? It's fucking new. It's this weird, but I'm not giving up on this Nerve. Because it is like we're from two different worlds. We're like the same from two different worlds. It's like whole tech and religious thing that I've been talking about streaming on my non-updated computer. Because guys, okay, well here's the thing, guys. So this is why talking to opposites or whatever, disagreeing views, right? Because sometimes if you're really genuinely just chatting, whether it's in and out of this hateful, under handed passive aggressive whatever tones going on, like that, love hate, right? But there's these little bouts of genuinity, because you guys tell me if this is a good idea, because okay, so Nerv was trying to teach me. He's upset with me, I believe, because I didn't rush to follow his computer teachings. I think he gets annoyed that I go back to social media and my YouTube, and just get these things off of like this blog of mine, right? To help. It's just part of my process, guys. He doesn't I don't think Nerv understands that. And I think my process does make sense to a certain degree. Now, his toughness, right? I need that in life, guys. I told you I had very negligent, my dad was always working up until the point he died, and then my mom is just kind of like one of those I could do anything I want. And it's yeah, that sounds cool when you're a kid, right? Oh man, I wish my parents let me do what your mom, I wish my mom let me, I wish I could tell my mom I was just going out with some dudes at 15, and she's like, whatever, okay. Whatever. Don't ask for milk when you get back. That sounds cool, right? But then you get older and you're like, wait a second, did anyone give a shit? You find out when you're older, oh shit, that's neglect. There's there's a difference between being cool, right? I'm a cool parent, and just straight up like why was I it's like that classic archetype on TV where it's bad kid. I told you that greaser just punch him, I just want I just want to go to the principal's office. I want an adult to punish me. Why won't anyone punish me? I just want them to show I just want to see that someone cares. Right? So Nerve pushing me, because he warned me, oh yeah, sorry, hey, I might push. Okay, I get it, because you guys are my witness in one of my many lives from yesterday. He's like, did you do that thing? Kind of snarkily, and he didn't check the email that I had already sent him and stuff, right? And you guys see the comment, he's like, oh, disregard my email, my snarky email that I sent him. Yeah, yeah, you know, like so he's tough with me, nerd. I get it, and I get you guys don't have to go and defend him. I'm let me develop my thing with Nerve. You guys don't have to sell or not sell him on me. Okay, let me figure this out myself. But I feel like he needs guys. I told you about teasing cats, right? The cat, you have to kind of humble them a little bit, right? You kind of have to make them neurotic. Don't be all soft and okay, Jen, you gotta tap their thigh and and get them to bite you instead. That's how my approach to Nerve is, because um I think he needs it. And and likewise, he thinks I need hardcore pushing of urgently updating my PC when I'm in a home when I'm homeless and wondering day to day, how am I gonna pay for this place? You know what I mean? I is that guys, is that me making an excuse? I feel a little bit, but he does play up you know what I'm saying? I'm justified. I'm justified in feeling a way about you currently, Nerve, but I'm not giving up. Because guys, world, I think this was a great idea, and I don't know. I think he thinks it. Okay, so I was chatting with Nerve, right? Or Nerve was chatting with me. Whatever. We both were chatty, right? We both like to chat, clearly. So he was chatting about nerd stuff, teaching me, right? Now he was explaining, what was it, Nerve, specifically? It was let me think here for a minute. It was some kind of firmware. Okay, firmware. So he's explaining it, right? And I'm like, because guy and world there, and I tried to explain this to Nirv because, and it's not because he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm probably not explain, and I don't know if he's being actually serious, like he's sorry that he's not explaining it well enough to me, but I made sure and truly, Nirv, like I am giving you like there are just people in the world, guys, who don't understand tech. My generation in particular, I was born in 1986. We were just kind of handed electronics, right? Or introduced to them like computers, like Macintosh, like in Oregon Trail and all that. And never were like explained like the operate it just it's one of those things where because it's such, I guess, a jump in human, like if you look in the past, right, and you're like, hey, there's these times in civilization where like things just went really advanced. Maybe that would be the case for like computers and electronics. And I asked him, I said, I think it was in one in the our first convo that was live streamed. I said, what was that about? Like, how come some people, I guess, just felt so inclined to understand, like, oh, this is like a technolo I don't know. Like, it never, guys, it just never crossed my mind. Take the internet even out of it, forget it. Wait till we get there. That only took me, I had that epiphany recently of like the last few years of, oh my God, what a detriment it is to not understand computer basics. So, when you become so advanced, or if you're just natural, like guy, like you tech world like that, consider that like how some people are musically inclined or artistically inclined or sports athletically inclined, right? These idiot savants, right? Or something, you're born with like these, that is that apparently that could be a thing. And I really don't think I'm playing up this like what the don't know tech. I just fucking don't, guys. And what bothers me about it is I am the type of person where, okay, well, okay, so, well, okay, so, yes, well, when you become so advanced at something, right, it's almost hard to put yourself back to not understanding it. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make you a bad teacher. You're still teaching correctly. It's just you can't grasp that, like how basic of a concept some of this stuff is to people. Like you even have to explain things you thought you didn't have to explain. And that's not to say that doesn't make a bad teacher. That means you're good at you're advanced in your area. That's why you need someone like I felt like me, who's like kind of in the middle of this, like these worlds where I'm like, it's almost like a language barrier. In order, so with nerd, I'm gonna okay. So for me, and I'm gonna use my son as an example. Guys have mentioned the language barrier thing. Okay, the language barrier thing. So when he began to learn spelling, how to spell words, he was very good at sounding out because he was very good at spelling. He kind of isn't being he was okay, very good at that. He would just know how to spell words by sounding them out because he was taught properly how to sound out words. So he didn't have to rely on like memorizing, like, okay, yeah, run, drive, this step. He didn't have it wasn't just memorization. He understood the um the why, like I'm a big why person, like, but why did sometimes when so yeah, like if some people's case, right, regarding tech, you don't have to go to like back to the basics of like reading the definitions of like, well, what's software? What's like 1960 computer 101. Maybe not everyone needs that, but certainly people like me, because then I won't always have to rely on like, unless you guys don't want that, like if I understand the sounding out of the how to sound out words like my son, right? Then I can just spell them without having to like, is this how do you spell this? Is that the right way? Or and then look like, oh, the right way. It's not all memorization. And then as things change and develop and um, um, like as the case with technology, it's so often, like updates and new terms. It's so hard to keep up with. You better understand that. So anyhow, so, at one point, Nerd was explaining, and I think to a certain, yes, he is snarky. I told you guys that he's snarky, But I do think a lot of it is genuine. Like, I don't think he can grasp that there's just people that, like like I said, I'm try to take a very basic concept of something you take for granted that you know, and then try putting yourself at a point where you didn't know. I don't know a specific example off the top of my head, but just something you learned that was like out of this world, you know, and you had to start from back to basics. It's just a thing. So I feel like if anything, Nerve's getting all like tough on me because I'm not focusing on the actual the updating and these things, right? Like the fixings of my laptop, which by all means, I would love to start fresh and all of that, truly. But he seems to think it not. He doesn't see this process. My mind goes to he was explaining, like he mentioned firmware, right? Nerve, I think it was firmware, and I said he's like, I don't know if you heard the word or seen it. And I have seen it somewhere. I've seen it in passing, but do I know what it means? Can I no? So I asked him. So he starts explaining, and I said, question. I said, would it be possible, or has anyone ever translated like computers to the human body? For instance, then we brainstormed, and he was like, okay, firmware would be like glasses, right? Okay, like imagine, okay, firmware would be like having LASIK surgery. I think that's what you said there, right? And what was the one that would be like glasses? There's firmware, and then there's like, see, I can't remember. It was a lot of info. Hang on, like firmware versus what's the other one? So I want to say it correctly. Firmware versus, it wasn't hardware, was it? Firmware, software, firmware versus, no, that wasn't what it was. Like firmware, let's see. Embedded into hard drive to help them. So yes, firmware was specific hardware. What do you mean by what do you mean by firmware? Category of software permanently embedded into. So yes, so firmware would be like LASIK surgery, he said. And so the software embedded in the hardware. So an app would be like, okay, so I think it was like an app would be like glasses then, right? Because you can take them off and put them on when you need to see. Okay, so apps are the equivalent to glasses for eyewear. Firmware would be LASIK surgery to the eyes. And oh my god, that clicks for me now. Do you know what I mean, guys? So that's, I think, some of the issues with this like whole tech thing. So my mind goes, and world, I'm stating my case. Like Nerve's kind of difficult in that regard. Like he doesn't. He's all about the tech. Like guys, yes, but this is like, aren't you not? Are you not excited about that Nerve? Because I thought that was like, because I said the hip bones connected to but that whole thing. Like yes, then certainly it would make more sense. And then he even brought up the analogy of birthing pretty much a heartbeat of I think, was it a sir? I don't know. I would love to. I don't know. Like Nerve and I together got this concept. I think we both think it's cool, right? But like I don't think he's willing to work like actually work on it with me. I don't know, but like anyone else out there interested? Because I think that would help if you're actually trying to help people. Then I think it would. Because there are just guys like you tech people, yeah, are you, I don't know, I don't think you understand like the level of how some people don't understand computers, let alone the internet. That's and oh, it's easy, like that's always why people like call you guys nerds and like incels, because there's just like somewhat, like I said, to a certain degree, maybe you're just not aware of how like that is a talent. And that would be like me saying then, like, me being used like Lady Gaga making fun of you guys for not knowing how to like rock out like on the piano with like your eyes closed or like your legs on. Do you know what I mean? It's maybe because you see it as like like a part of life, right? Like we use it every day. Maybe you don't see the value in it, in like that it is a skill. Like, is that like you need a confidence boost? Do you know what I mean? And like you're belittling, it seems belittling us people who really don't. I don't know how to. Guys, I don't like that about, trust me, I find it annoying myself. I'm just being honest. I've never I've mentioned in schools, like all they focused on was fucking typing. And unless you just were like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you were introduced to computers or in my generation and before, like let's say the 80s, like the 80s babies, right? And you grew up like in this weird time where a computer was a new thing. Not all of us really cared to wonder. Like, it's not to disrespect technology. It just like, it just was there. It's like kind of like cars, right? I guess essentially, right? Like not everybody people will just drive. Oh, I know I gotta put gas. There's like what do they call these guys like motorheads or grease? I don't know, like guys who are really into cars, right? Like the mechanics of them. So maybe in that regard, I could see like the tie Elon Musk of like the like car and like tech thing because they are like but just not everybody thinks like that. Like many, like how maybe I'm never gonna convince them of like spirit, like how I view things sometimes as far as spirituality. But I'm not trying to. It'd just be nice to not be mocked about it. Try to be understood or see the like the connection between like how I'm trying to translate these two languages guy, and I'm being serious to you genuine like tech people out there that are like Nerve had explained to me the problem of commercialism and like um like just intrusive fucked up shit. Then if it were happening in real life, I'd be pissed. And I say real life because it seems it's so easy to like disregard it, especially with the bombardment of fast, internet that we know. But it's not people are just they're not being like educated properly. There are people like myself who are I want to know. But then he but that is a good idea, guys, right? Like there has to be a way because he there is a way to connect computers to understand like the language like examples of how it would connect to a human body, like or anything that would help people understand, extend it further. Like, for the most part, people understand like basic idea of a human body, right? Like the firmware and the glass. He said he came up with that on a whim. Yeah, I think he was proud of that. See what happens when people who are just like I don't know both of our intentions. We're just maybe just curious people that I don't know. But then he gets focused on this like now I'm doing this to be obnoxious. I'm on here live to be obnoxious, just to piss him off more because it seemed like it did kind of make him mad that I didn't immediately do what I needed to. But guys, I don't. The issue is I don't have a USB stick, and he's bragging about how many he has, and I'm homeless in a hotel, guys. Like I don't know, like it's just not. It's not that. And like then we have to wait then, Nerve, for you to. I don't know. Like it's anyone else have this problem with Nerve? Like, like I don't know. His intentions, I think, are I don't know. But that is a really good idea, guys. And I just wanted to come on here and basically get on Nerve's nerves and stay out like amazing of an idea that is. And that's where my mind goes, Nerve. But you can't poo-poo all these people who like don't follow through and we keep making videos because here's the thing there that is still different about me. And you're saying those people like these TIs that Nerve refers to. Guys, when is the last time I've ever made like an expose video of any sorts other than my own thoughts and feelings, aka vlog? All right, I'm vlogger Sam. That it was never my intention. Sister Sam was never created with the like this weird whistleblower like social like warrior like that was never Sister Sam, the character, this design you see on my channel, the girl with the falcon owl bird, right? I would say more it's like an owl. That was all created prior to is this Nerve. I hope it is because I came on here just to get on your nerves, Nerve, and I hope it is you in there, and I hope you have something to say about it. I hope you would. I wish you would too. I wish a nerd would. But yeah, like so, Sister Sam, this character, right? This girl, this one you see on my channel, the concept was never meant, guys. That was meant for like my creative expression, like not any ties to like law and like injustices, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that was the concept, was to put myself out there, just to express myself creatively. And I even told Nerve Burger that YouTube wasn't my first like go-to thought, because if you guys know anything about me and my channel, I talk quite a bit about music. Yeah, and I'm fully aware of how shitty YouTube is regarding that. And I even mentioned that in one of my first videos. Guys, should I get a TikTok? Because like YouTube sucks. I said that, Nerve, or like I stated that, but because I explained this to Nerve, it I had to, for whatever reason, I perceived danger or threatened in my life, right? My safe, I didn't feel safe. And for whatever reason, he can call it schizophrenia, he could call it imagine, whatever the reason, it doesn't take away from the fact that felt unsafe when I started my channel actually uploading. And that was truly just to like, they're gonna get me. They're gonna get me, guys. This is the last chance I have to talk about this, and they're gonna get me. Truly, I was just putting my what more. I didn't feel I was getting any help from friends, family, law. I just felt very alone, which I did prior to that. But that like create like I meant alone as far as like, man, I gotta really connect with like artsy for like minded people with similar interests. You I can find anybody like me really in Elkland, guys. And I was getting tired of it. I was getting like, if you're a creative person like that, and you need, that's just how you express yourself. So yes, it is part of my process, Nerve. I don't come on here. I've never come on here and been like, this is the technology. This is where on my channel have you ever seen that? Like, when I come on here, if I have, it's usually to just play up these weird like insults that I get of like, I don't know. But it's always emotionally geared. There's never like, I've never really called out, as far as I understand, as far as I can see, I've never called out like, I feel I've been pretty fair in my channel as far as like, I'm pretty careful in what I say, as far as like, I never say this is the thing that this is. It's all Freemasons, and I'm not one of those people. That is why I told your in my first videos, I didn't want to use the word. I don't want to use these words that have this implication of what I am not implying necessarily. I just wanted to express what was happening to me, with the hopes of maybe somebody someday after they get me, they'll be like, oh my God, this is like she's explaining it, and they're understanding what I was explaining. A vlog, it just had this like this social aspect, that I would notice people feeling like triggered by little things that I was doing or saying, that really by all means shouldn't be like, I should be allowed to vlog about like my choice in musical artists, and then not see weird comments like being mad about it, as if like, I don't know. But yeah, it's not paranoia, Nerve. It's just how I express myself. I don't come on here. I get what you're saying, and that's the thing. Like, I get what he's saying. Anyone else have this problem with Nerve? Like, Nerve, come on. Is it your Cancer sign? And Cancer and Libra. I know how much you're into astrology, and I know how much of a science you do truly believe it is. Okay, so let me tell you something. A square. Do you know what that means in synastry? When synastry is when you take two people's birth charts, right? Like take yours, and mine, for example, right? You say you're a Cancer sun. There's so many other aspects, guys, that into the chart, and like that's why you need to know your time of birth, location, all that, right? So let's just say though, right off the bat, Nerve, say someone went out and it went from 3 to 2. It went from 3 to 2. Is that Nerve? Was that Nerve Burger? I'm going to start, and I'm going to translate computer language into astrology too, Nerve Burger. Trust me, once I learn these terms, I'm going to translate it into fucking astrology. I'm gonna do birth charts for fucking computers, right? Because you told me, you're like, oh, they have a heartbeat, right? So if they have a heartbeat, then they have to have a birth chart, essentially, wouldn't they? Computers, would they? Guys, I might do the first natal chart for a computer just to piss off Nerve Burger. But But Nerve Burger, your sun, take our sun, just our sun signs alone. The common one you see where you read wackadoo newspaper article prediction of such. Yeah, you said Cancer. I'm Libra. They square in astrology. What that means is there's 12 zodiac signs, right? So every, was it be every then 3 signs, is it? So Cancer, let's say Cancer. Then you have Leo, Virgo. So Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra. Yeah, so every 3. Like every 3, that would be 4 square, right? How can I explain? Square, okay. Square means that, how can I translate to computer terms? How can I translate to layman terms that you might, basically when two planets square, 2 signs, right? In this case, it would be the moon and Venus. Would be Cancer would be the moon, and Libra would be ruled by Venus. They make an aspect to each other. They have some form of like talk about space and matter, right? Just call it that space stuff, right? Space matters, all of it. It's for through, whether it be through whatever kind of antimatter, light, sound, whatever, out in space, these 2 planets do connect. Okay, they're picking up each other's energies. Squares are usually considered a negative aspect, or challenging is what it's called in astrology. It's never negative. It's all perspective. Challenging means there's room for growth, right? Because you don't want everything like hunky dory. That would be like trine, for instance, like water signs you take, like Moon, Cancer. Trines would be like Pisces, ruled by Neptune. Is it? So like water signs, Pisces, Scorpio, they typically trine. But that's just sun signs, and you got to factor in all these other things, Nerve. But right off the bat, by just astrology 101, we squared. So like we square off, like, yeah. There's many like squares, again, it's just challenging. It's just challenging. So I can see this there. And not to mention, I think every, what would it be then, these, okay, so these signs I mentioned, they're broken down every three signs, right? So there's there's four, like, okay, I don't know how to, can basically Cancer and Libra, I believe Cancer and Libra are both cardinal signs. So they call them cardinal, which means like what's their like, because you got mutable, cardinal, fixed. How would I explain this? Basically, we both want to be boss, me and her, like Cancer and Libra. We have leadership skills. Basically. Cardinal are often known, they're they're respected as leadership positions, right? Which, if we're doing business, Nerve, that's a good thing to, yeah. But what would you expect when you put 2 leaders together? About anything. It could be things they agree upon, or leaders from 2 different worlds. Like like the galactic embassy or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, so just imagine that, Nerve. Like, we're like 2 representatives from different planets. Like, but we're uniting it for this galactic embassy. Like, our intentions there, I believe are similar. But we're gonna butt heads a little bit, because I swear I don't know how to. I'm not gonna try to fucking convince you, but I am gonna do a birth chart. I'm one day. You're so lucky. You're so lucky, Nerve, that I can't even like update my computer right now that I want to. Like you really want me to? I have to come on here and live. I have to. I have to. And as a Cancer, maybe you're just not going to understand my Libran ways in that regard. But please don't think that I like, oh yeah, these guys, they have time to like, yeah, post this. And I mean, that is part of their process, but certainly what's wrong with the girl like me doing it, where I'm not really accusing when have I ever, like, recent time, even, like, when have I ever accused, let's go look at my video subject now. Let's fucking look at them. Let's look at this shit. They're so like dumb. That's what's so funny. Like, why the fact that it's like annoying, Nerve. Honestly, it makes me it kind of it kind of makes me want to just keep doing it more. Do you understand what you're doing to me, Nerve? Do you understand that? Like, oh, you made me like you made me hurt. Like you made me hurt you. Like that thing. I'm telling you, that is what you're doing, though. It is. It's not even to me to be so like maybe my life's like maybe I started off that way, like, oh yeah, I'm now to be now I can't stop. I can't stop, Nerve. And I think you have the same problem. Clearly, I said this obnoxious thing that we both share. So one of us has to like, yeah, one of us has to stop, Nerve. One of us has to. Did you email me back yet? Let's see. I want to see. Nerve girl, my feelings are hurt. I want to annoy you. I want you. I don't know, but yeah, guys, that would be a really cool. I feel way to like explain tech to these people that you tech people are annoyed about and want to supposedly help, right? But in the case of me, Nerve, it probably would be better if like what is the rush on this with it? I want to know, like, what is the rush on my computer? Are you not? You're assuming that is it like offensive to your helping me, like that I'm not doing your anyway? Because I can understand that, but I mean we're talking pretty dang fast. Like it's like dang, like give me my circumstances. I feel are kind of called for it. I do need a push from. I've never gotten that in my life, guys, from anyone regarding anything. People always point out my problems and be like, "Oh, did you figure that out?" Like, "Whoa, well, you should have done it." Like, truly, and I gotta say, like that's I've mentioned that in one of my videos where maybe I've overextended my like care or whatever for people, as far as like, oh here, let me write these things down. Like I've spent nights, I've pulled all nighters for other people, not expecting anything in return, not expecting praise. I'm saying I did it. That's an example of maybe overextending, but because it was never done to me in just the slightest way of like the only person I've had besides Nerve recently, as far as like like pushing me right in the proper way, like a genuinely concerned way, was this girl that was friends with Joe's Joe's brother, the one that I cheated on him with, guy. Like that whole thing, many moons ago, Kane, right? His girlfriend wanted to talk about like that family just drawn to me and like for some reason be me being the spokesperson for all of these guys and people in that family. Kane and I were long that like that wasn't a thing anymore. Okay, guys. Yeah, it wasn't like it had been like long lost in the wind or whatever, like long whatever. And he started dating this girl named Christy, and I don't know if he said something like he talked about like that weird time of him and I and the weird like experiences we. I don't know. He had to have said something about me, good, bad, whatever, that made her feel like, oh, like what away. But rather than just be a cunt, she tried like befriending me. But somehow it turned into like a genuine kind of friendship for a very brief time. But she and I, so I was like her counselor for all of like Kane, and it's like like she's complaining to me about Kane, and it's like, how did this happen? But she would reciprocate as far as I would tell her my problems, and she would check on me and be like, "Hey, did you make that phone call about your driver's license? Like, do you want me?" That the way I would help somebody to motivate, right? If I was genuinely like, hey, wanted to see them do well. Yeah, like shout out to her in that regard, Christy. Yeah, that was cool. Especially for women, guys. I don't really since middle school I never had like female friends, ever since middle school. It just and I know, and I've said that too, guys. I know they mean like yeah, like that's like, oh yeah, every girl that says that, guys, that's what no. Like, I don't know. There are some of us out there, and it's really annoying. And it's way off topic. I gotta get this off my chest, Nerve. I have to. I see what you did to me. See what you did. See you pushed too far. That I actually went. It's like a catapult, but one that like it snapped too soon. You know what I'm saying? Like rather than go catapult, it was like it went too fast and hit the ground right around where like it didn't take off. It just like this. Would didn't you want me to soar in the tech world? Do you see what you did? Do you see what you did there by pushing a little too hard? Just chillax, right? This is my process. And I thought we had a genius brainstorming. Like I find I find the language aspect of this all so much more fascinating and imperative and important as much as you find just the physical aspect of upload, like fixing the computer important. Yes, of course, for sure. Yes, you're at, I didn't disagree. But why are you so mad? Why so mad? Like, you mad, bro? Like no, I'm not poo-pooing your info either. I really enjoy hearing about it, but please, I don't know, Nerve, but yeah, like collaboration and a meeting of the minds. I feel we're just going in a good place, world. But it is a language barrier, and if that is you, Nerve, watching, or any tech person, I think maybe part of your problem is what others are perceiving as like arrogance might just be you are not understanding the skill, like, because tech is used every day, right? And we take it for granted essentially. Maybe you're not seeing the significance of the skill you have, like how somebody would see maybe like a musician or athletic, anybody inclined to like these things that are praised, right? Like these skills that some people are just born with like natural talents. Yeah, like maybe some of you tech people, I said it earlier, need to understand that. Are you just not like, yeah? Did you just need a confidence boost, and that's why you treat us stupid? Like it's just a computer, like it's just this because in your mind it is so simple, so you assume like like how can I explain this? It seems so simple to use that it's almost offensive that people don't understand because it's like they're not understanding your genius, but you don't even understand it's a genius. Did you know that? That's what I'm trying to say. Or if you do, us non-techie people, we just assume you know that, and that's why we call you like, you know, nerd burgers and like we tease like that, or I've said incels are ones who think they're tech savvy and not, and they like it gives them some weird power or ego trip. There are tech people like that out there, guys. Maybe some of you are not understanding like that you have an actual like it's that's where your mind is inclined. Not everybody has looked at computers and thought like, how does this work? And I said like vehicles or like instruments. Like how does that? There's a science behind music, and instruments and stuff, and every sports, baseball, all of these things that get praised. But yeah, tech included. So yeah, there would be some kind of like it's not people, not necessarily. Yeah, some people just need to be made aware. They just take it's just been it's we just for whatever reason we're taught to take it for it just is there. What in life hasn't been like that, like inventions, right? Like heating right now. Your heating system, like I'm sure there's some, like I mentioned, Chris was an HVAC tech. You kind of do become your work. Like I remember when I went to real estate school, I was studying for my real estate exam. The teacher, he laughed because he's like he sees everything as real estate, right? And I think he brought up, I think it was like one of the Medea movies, right? He's watching like one of these Medea movies, and like something about like the property, like he was seeing, like he saw it from like real estate salesperson like lenses, right? This Medea movie, like that's your thing. That's how you're looking at it. It's a perspective. So yeah, like you should. That is it's not people necessary, and then it becomes overwhelming. And because it's a necessary part of our, we use it on a daily basis. It becomes this weird like you get in over your head and you just give up. What else would you do? You know, I don't know. I don't know how to explain that, but whatever. You're like, you know, Nerve or world. Like, I'm trying to clean my case to fucking Nerve. You guys don't have to sell me on him or fucking get me to not trust him. Let me handle him how I want and for my own relationship with him, okay? Because it was, I thought, going somewhere cool like that, like the human, how computers translate to the human body. Then you'd have somebody like me who understands this as a concept, so I would know what questions to ask a nerd burger like Nerve. Like, how would that then course? how we brainstormed earlier today. The firmware example, I would think that's pretty fucking brilliant. Only I wouldn't want to share it with the world until they were ready, Nerve. But do I have to find another translating partner that won't berate me publicly when I don't do something immediately that they want? Hmm? Hmm? Do I? Do I need to? I don't want to give up on. We just started. Like the fuck. The fuck. Now I feel a way about like some like is this where I can't with you, Nerve Burger, and see what you do to me. This what you did this. You did this very thing that's annoying you that I'm doing right now. You did it. Because had you just let me be, I probably do you not like people who do that. Do you not understand that that's how that is a control thing to a certain degree, guys. It's like people who trust others, right? Essentially, and like they don't think they're cheating every 5 seconds, and like that they go to the store for milk or whatever. Yeah, like when you just give people that right of like trust, it's like children, Nerf Burger. You can't be overbearing like that. And I don't know. I don't know. I, I don't like this world. I don't like how I feel right now. I don't like how I feel because guys, I wasn't like, oh, no, I was just excited to talk to. It's so exciting when you not only meet people who you can have intelligent conversations with, or at least I'm interpreting that way with Nerve, but when you're so different, right? Like we're very similar in like foundational ways. Like I said, obnoxious. We both have leadership skills. We both want things, I believe, done like correct in what our view of correct is, right? But him in a tech sense, and me in like a law, like a just like what's right, like what's fair for people and shit. And he sees it in that tech way. If I can understand tech, then I would be able to understand how to teach others this like language in a language barrier. But I would be able to like connect the two worlds so that he like won't be so annoyed all of the time, which he says he's not. But guys, like just go watch Nerve Burger. Okay, go watch Nerve. You tell me he doesn't sound annoyed all of the time, pretty much. You know? Who sound okay? I'm gonna start a poll. Who sounds more annoyed in all of their videos, me or Nerve Gorilla? Okay, or Nerve Burger? Okay. At least I'm upfront about it. I'm like, I can't stand you fucking people. And I get it out and then move on. Like we're both annoyed, okay? But I think he's more annoyed like all of the time. And I don't know. I want that question answered. And then I also want to know like I'm gonna see if there's ever like the first natal chart. I want to see if there's a first natal